Unless I'm being detained. Am I being detained?
It's an investigation, so right now you are being detained.
I am being detained?
You are being detained until we can figure out who your name is. I'm giving you a chance to give me your name. We're conducting an investigation as to what you're doing. Therefore, I'm asking you for your name.
What reasonable articulable suspicion do you have that a crime is afoot?
You're in an area taking photographs of a power plant.
Is taking photographs of a power plant a misdemeanor or a felony?
What is that? Sorry?
Is it a misdemeanor or a felony to take pictures?
Right now you're failing to identify who you are while being investigated by a law enforcement officer. That's the crime that you're committing at this point.
Well, what would that be?
Failing to provide an identification to a law enforcement officer when you have been asked to do so.
A tense confrontation erupts as investigative journalist Jeff Gray is stopped by law enforcement while filming in public. Deputy Richardson asserts that photographing a power plant is suspicious behavior and declares Jeff is being detained for failing to provide identification. Is a citizen obligated to surrender their identity without evidence of a specific crime, or is this an abuse of power aimed at suppressing press freedom? Join ID Refusal 101 as we analyze the thin line between law enforcement and constitutional rights in this situation. Special thanks to Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations for this valuable footage. Please follow and support the original channel to learn more about civil rights.
Welcome to ID Refusal 101. We're here to arm you with legal knowledge to protect yourself. Subscribe now to know your rights and how to assert them. And now, enjoy the video.
Just taking photographs?
Take photographs?
Yeah.
We'll take photographs of?
Whatever I can see for public. I'm just gathering information about just investigative journalist gathering content for a story, that's all.
Okay.
There's my hands. Got nothing in my hands, all right?
Why are we taking pictures of the plant?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Raise a little bit of suspicion.
It's not illegal though, right?
That's not illegal, however, it is suspicious in nature. With it being as, you know, what it is. So, you have a vehicle with you?
I'm not answering any questions. Like I said, I explained to him I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
You have an ID with you?
And so he's already confirmed I'm not breaking any laws, so.
Well, we're still talking to you. We need to identify who we're talking to.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
We're trying to identify who we're talking to just because there was a suspicious, it was called out that there was a suspicious person walking around taking photographs. The way things are right now, we at least need to identify who we're speaking to so we can make a notation that you were in the area, who you were, and what you were doing. If you're taking photos, that's fine. But we still need to find out who we're talking to.
Who I am is investigative journalist gathering content for a story.
Okay, I need your name though.
And I'm taking photographs.
Jeff Gray begins his field assignment to verify the right to photograph in public under the First Amendment. He is immediately confronted by Deputy Richardson. Although Richardson admits that taking photographs is not illegal, he deliberately labels the activity as suspicious in nature to force an identification check. This marks the beginning of a textbook ID refusal scenario. Under the Fourth Amendment, law enforcement lacks the authority to demand identification unless they have reasonable articulable suspicion, RAS, that a person has committed, is committing, or is about to commit a crime. Richardson's desire to obtain personal information simply for notation is an overreach of power and a violation of a citizen's privacy. Jeff Gray acted strictly within the law by exercising ID refusal, asserting his status as a journalist and declining to provide ID when not lawfully detained. In this instance, compelling an ID for security reasons without citing a specific crime is a clear indicator of police misconduct. You should remain calm, ask if you are being detained, and stand firm with your ID refusal if no clear legal basis exists.
Unless I'm being detained. Am I being detained?
It's an investigation, so right now you are being detained.
I am being detained?
You are being detained until we can figure out who your name is. I'm giving you a chance to give me your name. We're conducting an investigation as to what you're doing. Therefore, I'm asking you for your name.
What reasonable articulable suspicion do you have that a crime is afoot?
You're in an area taking photographs of a power plant.
Is taking photographs of a power plant a misdemeanor or a felony?
What is that? Sorry?
Is it a misdemeanor or a felony to take pictures?
Right now you're failing to identify who you are while being investigated by a law enforcement officer. That's the crime that you're committing at this point.
Well, what would that be?
Failing to provide identification to a law enforcement officer when you have been asked to do so.
Is that a crime?
It is a crime.
You have
Well-
to provide law enforcement with an identification or your name so that when it's been asked upon you do not do so.
But you've already confirmed that I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not violating any
Besides
laws.
failing to identify yourself at this point.
There's no duty. I'm not refusing. Don't get me wrong. But there's no duty to identify if I'm not suspected of a crime.
Okay.
The situation escalates as Deputy Richardson officially declares Jeff Gray is being detained under the guise of an investigation. This is a prime example of police misconduct where Richardson attempts to criminalize the exercise of First Amendment rights. Jeff Gray remains sharp, maintaining his ID refusal by demanding the officer articulate a reasonable articulable suspicion, (ARS). Richardson falters, first implying that photographing a power plant is a crime, then circular reasoning that the act of ID refusal itself, failing to provide ID, is the criminal offense. Legally, per Terry v. Ohio and the Fourth Amendment, an officer cannot detain a person solely to demand a name without evidence of a specific underlying crime. Richardson's threat of arrest for failure to identify, absent a predicate offense, is a blatant violation of law. Jeff Gray is legally correct in his ID refusal. There is no legal duty to identify if one is not reasonably suspected of a crime. When facing such pressure, you should consistently ask for the Rs and hold your ground on ID refusal until the officer can justify the detention with actual criminal suspicion.
Is that right?
We're telling you right now, you're completing an investigation as to what you're doing and what you're photographing.
I've already told you that I'm an investigative
Correct.
journalist gathering content for
However,
story.
Along with that, we need to identify, we're asking you that we need to identify who you are so we can make a notation that you were in the area and you're going to be in the area taking photographs. Okay,
Well-
failing to provide law enforcement officer with a form of identification after you have been asked to do so is a crime.
Okay, so I'm not refusing. What will happen if I don't give you guys identification? Because I don't think it's any of your business who I am. You've already confirmed that I'm not committing a crime. What I'm doing is perfectly lawful. I'm standing on a public sidewalk. Not only is it, just let me finish. Not only is it perfectly lawful, it's constitutionally protected activity.
Okay.
Did you guys take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution?
Okay. I'm not asking you whether or not you are going to be taking photographs on the side of the road. That's not what we've already clarified that.
Right.
However, what we're discussing now is the fact that you're failing to provide law enforcement with an actual identification or your name so that you can make a notation that we may contact you.
This is a First Amendment protected right. You guys are detaining me unlawfully. And now you're forcing me to give up my identification, which is unlawful. And I'm gonna give you guys a chance not to do that. I'm not refusing to do it, but I'm gonna give you guys a chance not to unlawfully detain
We
me.
need to know who we're speaking to.
Are you going to give us your identification or not?
Am I gonna be arrested or not if I don't give it
It
to you?
just depends. Why are you refusing to give it?
Because it's none of your business who I am. It's my personal information.
I'm a law enforcement officer. I have the right to find out who I am.
What is y'all's names and badge numbers? Do you have a supervisor?
I do. You want me to come over? Because I'll be more than glad
Please,
to come
please
over.
call your supervisor and we'll take it from there, okay? Now I want to make it clear I don't consent to being detained. I like to be free to go and go about my business.
I understand that.
Are you recording as well?
Yes, everything's
Excellent,
recorded.
excellent.
He's also recording his live stream on Facebook right now.
That's perfect.
You guys both confirmed that you're recording, so I'm going to be doing,
Everything's being recorded.
I will be doing a public records request to obtain those videos.
Right now you're telling me journalism. That's perfectly fine, but I have no way of proving that unless you provide me some kind of identification that states that you are. And if you do, then that's fine. You're good to go. We'll go on our own way. Well, it's the loitering and prowling is what we were looking at because you're in an area at a time that's not common for normal people to be in photographing.
Like I expressed to Deputy Richardson, I do not consent to being detained. I would like to be free to go as soon as possible.
As soon as we can find out who you are and we can possibly identify who you are, you'll be more than glad to go.
The legal standoff between Jeff Gray and Deputy Richardson reaches a critical peak as individual liberty is directly threatened. Richardson continues to claim that withholding identity is a crime, even after admitting that Jeff's photography is entirely lawful. This is a blatant case of police misconduct, attempting to blur the line between administrative checks and criminal investigations.
Jeff Gray stands his ground with a firm ID refusal, reminding the officers of their oath to uphold the Constitution and asserting his First Amendment right to gather information in public. Jeff's strategic demand for a supervisor and his clear declaration of non-consent to the detention are textbook legal self-defense. Under the Fourth Amendment, a detention is only valid when based on specific evidence of a crime, not an officer's curiosity about one's name. Richardson's move to read Miranda rights is a psychological pressure tactic, yet Jeff maintains his ID refusal. He understands that surrendering his ID during an unlawful detention only validates government overreach. The takeaway is clear: know your rights, request a supervisor, and remain steadfast in your ID refusal to protect your privacy against warrantless law enforcement interference.
All right, sir, I'm going to advise you of your constitutional rights, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and to have him listen during any question. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you. Before any question, if you wish, if you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You will also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand these are those rights advised to explain them to you?
Hi, I'm Sergeant Ford. How are you, sir?
Sergeant Ford.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Jeff. I'm
okay.
investigative journalist. I'm just taking photographs. They've already advised me that that is not illegal.
No, it's not. And no, Jeff, I don't think you're a terrorist. Oh, fine, but if that's all you do is taking pictures.
Okay. Am I free to go?
Outside, Jeff.
I know it is. Am I free to go?
What's that?
Am I free to go?
Yeah.
We know
Okay.
who he is, right?
Yeah. What's that?
We don't know who you are.
Well, you don't want to give us your last name or anything like that, Jeff?
I'd rather not if I'm not doing anything illegal.
He wouldn't even give us his first name, so.
Well, you said it's Jeff. I mean, if it's Jeff, Jeffrey, I don't know.
Okay.
But no, you're not doing anything illegal.
Okay. So I'm free to go?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to head this way if I could just...
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Jeff, you know that, were you recording our conversation between the two of us?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay, well, you didn't tell me you were recording that conversation, did you?
No, sir.
Okay, that's illegal under the Florida statutes. You realize that?
Actually, it is not.
It's under Security Communications Act is what it is.
Not when it comes to public officials.
No, I think you're wrong, buddy. Okay? But you need to tell me you're recording me. If I'm talking to you, say, hey, I'm recording this conversation. And I'll be fine with that because you've told me you're recording me, okay?
Okay, am I free to go?
Yeah, you're free to go.
Thank you.
Bring that to your attention.
The arrival of Sergeant Ford immediately shifts the dynamic as he concedes that Jeff Gray is not breaking any laws or acting as a terrorist. This admission indirectly confirms that the prior detention by Deputy Richardson was baseless. Jeff Gray successfully navigated the ID refusal by only sharing his first name without surrendering official documents, forcing the officers to acknowledge his right to be free. However, another instance of police misconduct arises when Sergeant Ford claims Jeff's recording of the interaction is illegal. Legally, under the First Amendment and established case law regarding public recording, citizens have the right to film and record government officials performing their duties in public without consent, provided they do not interfere. Sergeant Ford was incorrect to cite privacy statutes in a situation involving public law enforcement activity. Jeff Gray offered a sharp rebuttal, maintaining his ID refusal until the end and successfully protecting his recorded evidence. The vital takeaway is that even superior officers may provide misleading legal information to intimidate you. Stay firm with your ID refusal, know your recording rights, and only depart once you have confirmed you are officially free to go. The video concludes with a legal victory for Jeff Gray against baseless accusations. In terms of conduct, Jeff Gray earns an A for his absolute legal literacy and courage in maintaining ID refusal. Conversely, Deputy Richardson and Sergeant Ford receive an F for their abuse of power, unlawful threats of arrest, and spreading misinformation regarding recording rights. These officers violated Fourth Amendment principles by detaining an individual without reasonable articulable suspicion, RAS. In summary, this video proves that ID refusal is not an act of defiance, but a protection of constitutional rights. When pressured by law enforcement, always ask if you are being detained and demand they articulate a specific crime. Do not let intimidation force you to surrender your privacy. Follow ID Refusal 101 to master your legal knowledge and support the original channel Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations for their tireless work in fighting for civil rights.
Knowing your rights isn't being difficult, it's being prepared. If this video helped you understand your legal rights, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below, tell us your story, ask a question, or suggest the next encounter we should break down. This is ID Refusal 101, where we teach the basics of your right. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.